G'day everyone. Proud to say Bar Karate is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
I know what you're going to say.
Well, and the conversation continues.
Yes, my friend.
The conversation continues. The America's Cup.
Oh,
The excitement, the boredom, where do we stand with this? I mean,
I love it.
I love it too. I love what we've got going on, but there is going to be a big topic of discussion a bit later on in this show, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah, no, we're definitely going to go cup. Let's see what Mr. Bice is up to.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Cricket. The boy's earning some money. He's sailing Maximus, the super yacht.
He's earning money to pay for bar karate.
Yeah, that's right. I did have that exact thought today. We're having to skip out on him so he can pay for things. Yeah, that's some big gear on that thing. That thing would terrify me.
He did send a video through, and look, I congratulate him and all that sort of stuff. But it's a pretty wild gig that he's on. So good on him.
Good on him. He was saying, I was talking to him. It's the kite's 2,000 square meters on the thing, 27 mil kite sheets.
Okay, to give you an idea, the X2 is 103 square meters, 30 footer.
Yeah, it's insane. It's 3 normal size houses, gardens in Australia. Probably for the rest of the world, it's like 10. But
yeah. My humble unit here in Sydney is a good solid 160 square meters.
Yeah. Wow. Hurry up.
So that's
more than
like
10 of your units.
Nearly 10 of my, over 10. It's nearly 15 of my units.
Anyway,
move on.
He'll be back soon. He's just earning some wedge.
No, good on him. Go and have a break.
Yep.
He goes okay.
Goes okay. All right, let's bring our guest in. Fired up, BP, as you know. I pulled this one completely out of the blue on you. The reason why.
Not unlike last week, me on you.
Yeah. Well, this one, I've been chasing through 1 metre results and a name just kept popping up. So I've been, the 1 metre Worlds, just on a month away, sort of third week of October in Australia, in Gladstone, Happy Rock as we call it, Gladstone, if you can get that joke.
Good, nice. The Happy Rock World Championships.
Yeah, Happy Rock World Champs. That's it. Yeah, so Gladstone 1 metre Worlds, and so I've been sort of sticking my head into that world, and the guest that we've got today is a 3-time world champion in the class, a European champion multiple times, North American champion. Hasn't been beaten this last year.
Let's just sum over this for the listener. We're talking about International 1 metres. Now, you and I and Bicey commonly refer to these as the twiddlers.
Yeah, the twiddlers. Yeah,
the twiddlers, because they get very sore thumbs with their remote controls, but they take this very seriously, and I'm really looking forward to this chat.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, as I said, this guy's been unbeatable this year. He designs the boats, does some rigging. He actually sells, you go to his website, you can buy the whole thing complete. So you can buy a race-winning, the world champion boat if you want, the whole kit. You don't have to even think about it. You just click it in and go. And a few people are doing that. And he's Croatian. We desperately try to get different sort of countries in, and so it's a real joy to be able to have this conversation. We really
absolutely,
we weren't sure what we were going to get, but we're super happy to get it.
We still don't know what we're going to get.
Very positive dude when I reached out to him. So let's get on with the show and just welcome to Bar Karate Zvonko Jelacic. Zvonko Jelacic, welcome to Bar Karate. It's a joy to talk to you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
I love it. Mate, the reason we're doing this is the 1 metre Worlds are about to start in about a month's time. Very interested in what's going to happen. We wanted to chat to you, mate, because with the 1 metre Worlds so close and looking at the form in the build-up to the World Championships, you have to be one of the absolute favourites. You're on fire at the moment. You're hard to beat. What's going on?
Yeah. From the beginning of the kind of my career, I've been improving constantly, and then at one point I kind of started winning, and I tend to continue winning. So we will see what will happen.
Obviously, Zvonko, we come from a sort of a bigger boat background, but the key here is how technical do you have to be to keep on winning? How technical do you have to be the world champion in the International 1 metres?
Well, I always, in my point of view, the class is kind of divided in two sorts of people. There is technical guys, obviously they like to build boats, design sails, because it's a box rule class similar like TP52, but much cheaper, so much more people can kind of play with design and whatever. And then there is this other kind of people that, let's say, that are sailors. They tend to go for a win and make good results. Like, let's say, like professionals that are sailing TP52. Yeah. Doesn't have a clue what went into designing, but they are very good in sailing.
Well, so they think they can come into the regattas and just go, hey, I know all the rules, I'm the best, and I'll just do this. But then they meet people like you.
Yeah, something like that. I'm kind of mix of those two people because I'm also a naval architect by school, and I've been sailing all my life. So I'm those two people joined together, and I think this is part of the secret because I also design everything and then I race with it. So I have maybe a bit deeper knowledge about how to tune the boat per conditions, because I designed the fin, the bulb, the boat, the sails, everything. So I know what I was aiming to and what are my kind of weaknesses and strengths. But the other people that are, let's say, just sailing, they also, they buy whatever they think or like the most, and then they compete. They are very competitive because they also have enough time to train with the boat, get familiar with the boat, and kind of push the max from the boat.
Zvonko, you said you've been sailing your whole life. How did you start in the sport?
Well, after I normally start with Optimist. That's normal in Europe and I think for the most of the world.
Yep.
And then I've been doing some of a little bit laser, but I never kind of liked this physical part of it. I didn't like it, to be honest. I always liked the technical part of the sailing, but at that time in Croatia there weren't many technical classes like Star or other stuff. So I went to keelboat sailing, having good results there. Mm-hmm. And then my teammate now, Ante Kovacevic, who's been also sailing for his life, especially in radio sailing, he kind of gave me one of his old boats, and then I started radio sailing. But this all happened during college, so quite soon, I would say. Yeah. I was studying now and playing with radio sailing. And then after the college, like normally I continue just to build boats. Since I started to make good boats and fast boats, people tend to build me one, and this is how it all started. More from kind of fun and hobby than it wasn't intention from the beginning to kind of have this professional business that I have now.
Wow, that's a cool story.
Yeah. So the business is called Sailboat RC, and yes. You started out. I've tried to work out all the designs that you've gone through, and I think I've got this right. I think it was. Did you start with the Canton? Is that correct pronunciation? Canton?
Yes. This was our first design, but before that, my kind of way was. First, I decided I will buy whatever I think it's the best on the market and kind of just assemble it together. At that time, that was Topico and Picantos. And then I kind of didn't like the position of the fin and stuff like that. So I kind of move a bit that around the boat. And then I won the World Championship. In my mind, the boat was faster, my setup. And then I decided, okay, maybe it's time I can design my own boat, but I was still buying sails. So this is when I designed the first, together with Robert Grubish, I designed the first canton. We first made it from like planks of wood, and then we say, okay, we have something good going on here. And then we made a mold for the first canton. Yeah. I didn't design that many boats when you can't comparing to the other designers that I'm competing. Yeah. I had only canton. Then we have a Canton S, which was kind of softer version of Canton. And then we have the K2, Canton Va, but we call it shortened K2. Yep. And now this is V. So this is only fourth design. Yep. And all designs were kind of going from the start, so I'm really happy with it.
Well, sorry, BP, I was just going to say, I wonder, I mean, like your record is amazing, like it's really good, but this year, since 23, you've been unbeatable. And is it the new design, do you think, is part of that as well, the new Vis? I feel like I'm giving you a good plug here.
Yeah. Well, I think the Vis is, I would say, surprisingly good boat from what I thought it will be. This is my kind of honest view, because with the K2, I think the K2 is excellent boat as soon as you have the wind. Especially if you have the wind and waves, then he's off. He's really, really, really fast. But on the last World Championship here in Croatia, we had light winds for whole regatta except the last day. And on the last day, by the way, I think I made like 3 first places, and then I have a winch failure. This is when it was blowing, but on the lighter winds, I wasn't as fast as I wanted. And then I decided, okay, I need to make something new for the lighter winds. An idea for the Vis was just to be the kind of light wind boat and to kind of close that hole. So if it's a light wind condition, I can use Vis, and if it's windy, I can use K2. But to be honest, I was surprised with the speed that Vis is handling even in stronger beats. I mean, normally on light wind, I think it's super fast, but even in stronger wind, I think it's still quite competitive.
Okay.
Maybe not as fast as K2 when it's blowing, but getting there. So I'm really happy.
So, as with last week's show, we had the e-sailors on talking about internet sailing, and now we've got, as you say, radio sailing. It's foreign territory for us. One of the big things, Zvonko, is I design and project manage my own design as well in bigger boats. But I think you're a lot smarter than me. And I'll tell you why. Because mass production's a lot easier. You don't have so many bits and pieces that can go wrong, and you can sell a lot of the bloody things, and I think it's a fantastic thing you're on.
We are full production. Basically, we make molds, and then we make 100 of those same. They're not cheap. I mean, for what you're doing, they're quite. They're obviously a lot cheaper than buying a normal boat, but But the point is that you can sell a lot of them, and you can get them out quick, and you can hold a lot of stock, and I think it's a really good business model, to be honest, because my business model sucks. So you make just one boat, and that's it. One boat and the other boat, and then like personal order. This is kind of mix. It's not big volumes. It's not like making cars. You are making thousands and thousands, and then you are kind of scaling it. It's but you make 100, 200, but it's still lots of hand work. That's the main problem was keeping the price up. And the other problem is, I would say, class is constantly developing. We are now much faster than we were 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So you cannot make like, let's say, you cannot say, oh, this is good. Let's make 1,000 sales, and then we won't make it anymore. We will just sell for next 10 years.
Okay.
Someone will come with something faster, and then you have, let's say, 900 sales that are not latest, I would say.
Yeah. So without promoting, obviously, your opposition, because we don't want to. You're on the show, and you've come forward and talked about your boats. How many competitive designs are there? in the fleet?
I would say now for the next Worlds there will be definitely, I would say 4 or 5 competitive designs. In my point of view, there are 3 producers that are maybe 4, or actually 3, that are making competitive boats. There are other producers that are making boats, but they are, they are missing pieces here and there. Is it slightly design or build quality or stuff like that, and then they are not top level competitive. So
it's just the same across the board, isn't it, Jay? It doesn't matter what we're talking. It doesn't matter what boats we're talking about. It could be a bathtub. Whoever designs the best bathtub or whoever designs, it's all about performance. And it just, again, it happens. Doesn't matter what you're sailing.
I love it. I think I'm interested though, because Zvonko, you not only are you doing the boats, but you also, I think you have led the way in moulded sails. I believe that you're leading the way in that.
The only one at the moment, as much as I know, that are making molded sails. And there is a funny story about it, because my idea, okay, once I design the boats and start making boats, I say, okay, I want to make my own sails. And then I look at videos and I also ask guys around how they make sails on this. They make like a mold, and then you stick it with the hands, and then you make the seams.
Yep.
And it's fucking hard. I tried it.
Well,
and there is I personally can do sails like that because it's very difficult to repeat the process, and I'm really amazed how the guys can do good sails, because this is model, this is very small, and I realized there is no way I can make the sails this way. And then I started to discover the other ways, since I'm quite technical guy and like to invent stuff. Then I went how to. I look at the videos normally from how the other guys that make 3D sails, how do they make it. We do it differently because this is single sheet. There is no reinforcements. There is no, fibers. There is just piece of plastic. So it's kind of thermal bending plastic.
Yep.
Then I look at this kind of industry, and then I figure out a way how to make nice sails. And the very important thing is very repeatable.
Yep.
So once I have a good design, I'm quite sure they are all very, very, very close, because they are from the same mold. So.
Yep.
I'm sorry. My crazy, silly Australian head is just thinking about how many little people you need to make these boats, and how many little people you need to crew them, and so I'm just thinking about this little factory with little sails and little people running around doing stuff, But no, I understand your point. What you're saying is, it doesn't matter the size of what you're doing, but to get it right is very important, and to get that. Even though it's only, the rule is International 1 Metre, to get that right, it makes a difference.
Yeah, and there were boats before that were designed with software like VPP and stuff like that, but now we are faster than they, because simply there were enough time to develop the class. I think similar class thing is happening, for example, when you look at the World Championship of EMS or RC now, where you measure the boat's performance, and then you see TP52 winning. I'm not thinking that TP52 is the best boat for that, but TP52 is a super fast boat in his own kind of range, and there is no software that can measure it. Because they just develop it that far. If you choose any class and start to develop, after 20 years, it's faster than any predictions. Simply because time and this is what you pay when you buy top level 1 meter class from us or from anyone else. Basically, all this time that were put into the boat to perform in this level.
Yep, it makes complete sense what you're saying.
Well,
my
theory behind that is kind of, I guess you could call it cornering or triangulation, where it ends up in a corner. A box rule will always end up, it doesn't matter, unless the box rule changes, the design will always end up in a corner where everyone works out what that boat's doing, and they'll just find the percentages will get smaller and smaller and smaller until you end up where you just can't change.
Yeah, we are getting, for example, let's say, wide of the boat. When you look at the older designs, they were super narrow, they were super wide. And we are talking narrow, like 15 centimeters wide, like 30 centimeters. So they were like double wide than competition on the same racing field. But now we are all inside 2 centimeters, and we are narrowing. We are kind of in the middle of all this. We are, doesn't matter, 22 or something like that. But we are all getting closer and closer, and the differences are smaller, and it's more difficult to gain big advantage. But you do still have this kind of advantage to be gained. Before it was 10 boat lengths at the windward mark. Now you are fighting for 1 boat length at the windward mark, which is quite a lot if you want to win.
Sorry, Jay, which leads to my next point. Top marks, bottom marks, mark roundings in general, 30 boats, 40 boats. It's aggressive. We always laugh about it. Is there fisticuffs on the dock?
Sorry.
Is there fights?
Yeah, we are limited usually to 22. I think 19 boats per fleet is the maximum. And then we have this scoring system, because on the championship, obviously, you have more than 20 boats. But then we have groups and everything. And so on the march, you can have 20 boats. Now we started sailing, which is also fun. We started sailing with the gates at the windward gate, at the upwind. And it's kind of outside-in gate. You basically go downwind through the upwind gate.
Oh, okay.
Because we are sailing more or less directly downwind, so you don't meet the other guys on the other gate up to half of the downwind beat or something like that. So there is less fight, but what is fun with radio sailing, there is no damage.
Yeah.
So basically, you do hit each other. It's not like...
well, I mean, the second
sometimes you hit.
Yeah, the second you take your hands off the remote control to go and punch the guy next to you, it's like, you're out of control, right?
But with the boats, we do hit each other. For example, when they're far away and you have port and starboard, and you are not sure is he crossing or not. Yep. Basically, he won't do nothing, you won't do nothing. Because if you dock down, he will say, I would pass anyway, and there is no way he will get. Yeah. If you just touch him on the stern, then he will get a penalty, and there is no damage. So only you don't want to kind of T-bone him, because then you will stop and you may get entangled and lose the race. But just touch is kind of okay now.
I'm interested. BP has said that we don't sail these boats, but obviously as sailors our whole life we've been aware of them from day one. And many years ago, I was quite good friends with a guy called Craig Smith, who and I remember this is a long time ago going to his place in Victoria, and he was showing me all these little 1 metre boats that he was building, and they were quite wide and sort of delta shaped.
He was building skiffs at that time. And he also helped me a lot. I've been also emailing with him, asking me how he doing stuff. He was very, very helpful at my beginnings, I would say. And we all the boats, and actually now the V's are using our fin, my design fin, but all the boats before were using Craig Smith fin most of the time.
Yeah.
He's very, very precise guy. I mean, much higher than me.
He's very good, very, very technical. But the point I think I was going back to that evolution element where, he had these wide boats, and so I'd look into the class every few years and see the boats coming down, and to me they were getting thinner and thinner. But what you've said is that they went too thin, and now you sort of found that sweet spot where you're all very close. So that design evolution is there, and then it's about foil placement and rig placement, and then it's about sailing the boat well. I mean, there's all these different controls on the boat.
Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the sailor will win, especially in the top few designs. They are quite close now. So in the end, I think definitely the sailor needs to sail fast to win the championship. I mean, you have a bunch of same designs in top guys, and then you see usually similar guys are winning. Usually similar guys are, let's say, 10th and down, and so on. So in the end, you need to have the skill skill to win, but without, we call it weapon, or without a good boat, you won't win anyway. So first you need to have a boat and everything sorted, and then skills come in play.
So back to the competition side of it, and we're talking skill. We know that sailing ability, sailing knowledge, the whole thing comes into play. You obviously have a regular group at the top. When you meet each other at the club, you go and have a chat, and you it's all pretty serious. I'm assuming it's very serious.
Well, in our club we have relatively open discussion about how do you tune it, and we all want to get further ahead.
Yep.
But when you go to the Worlds and Europeans, I mean, it's not like everyone are sharing their secrets. But I would say the class is very open, which I like. I think it's more open than most of the other classes. You can still kind of ask guys, okay, can I check your trim, and most likely they will give you. Most likely the kind of politic is you can come to my boat, you can look whatever you want, just don't touch it. Not because touching it, but so you don't change something, which I won't be aware of. So it's more like this stuff, not because I'm not allowing you to touch my boat. It's just to protect it from damage or changing of tune. But in general, when you are on the race site and someone asks you, can I check your trim, you will most likely give it. At least I will, and I think most of the top guys will. And in the class, it's very, very fun, because some guys like this trim, some guys like the other trim. So what is working for me doesn't mean necessarily it will work for the other guys. I mean, I know I check trim of the most of the other top guys, and they are quite different than mine. And they are still working. I mean, we are still fighting for 1-2 points in the end.
Yeah.
And that's the fun part of it. So
that's cool. For those who aren't familiar with the 1 metre, I'll just explain. I think I've got it. I mean, it's probably it is the number one class sailed in radio control racing.
I mean, most competitive, definitely.
Yep, it's raced in over 30 countries. It was designed in 1988, and it's a box rule, as you've said. You can use carbon fibre in the fin and the rudder, but then the rest of the hull's either wood or fiberglass, and then the alloy spars or timber spars, and the sail designs are one design size you have to use. So your number 1-to-1 design.
You got to measure. Measure.
Yeah, you got to measure. It's plus minus few millimeters.
Yeah.
Let's say 5 millimeters on the most cases, up and down. But as you said, we are all in one corner anyway. So.
Yeah. And then when you set it up, you've got controls, so you can set up. You've got like a Cunningham eye, you've got a backstay, you've got out hauls for both the jib, because the jib's on a boom as well, I think. Well, it is, and so you've got.
I think we have more when you hold it in a hand. By the radio, you just have a rudder and a sheet in, sheet out, and the rudder left. This is all you have once your boat is on the water. But
so you set up on the shore, yeah.
You set up on the shore like you're trying to get the average setup for this race or whatever you prefer. But once you hold it in the hand, I think we have more setup than most of the other classes. Mm-hmm. They have everything like they have, like Cunningham, backstay, wang, shrouds, spreaders. So this is all standard.
Yep.
But what we also have, we have like contra wang. This is pushing the mast backwards, somewhere at boom height. Yeah. So this is kind of very cool if you want to, for example, close the leech. Yep. But you also want the deeper part of the bottom of the front part of the sail, so you kind of use this. And our jib is not a standard jib. Jib is also on boom, and it has this, we call it pivot point. So you have one line keeping the boom, let's say 10% from the beginning of the boom, where it's front part of the jib. And then on the back side of the boom, we also have a line. With that line, we control the twist of the jib.
Yep.
And then it's kind of self-tacking. So this is kind of, I don't think many classes or any class control the twist of the jib with this. It's mostly controlled by the sheet. For us, it's you preset up the twist of the jib, and then sheet is just pulling the jib in and out.
Yep, got it. 100% got it. So you can really tune the thing. So that being said, what I'm sitting here imagining is that if I was setting my boat up, I'd be looking for a fairly neutral helm so that the boat doesn't drop away to leeward. It has maybe a tiny bit of weather helm. It wants to drive slightly to windward is kind of what I would guess that you'd set up, and you can make that happen, I assume.
Yes, we can make happen. We can make basically whatever you want with our setups, but we generally, as you mentioned, sail either neutral or slightly up. Mm-hmm. And also, when you have a really good setup, the boat will also change his course on a shift, not too aggressive shifts, but if it's a few 5 degrees of the shift, he will go nose down or nose up just by the setup, and he will do it automatically. You don't need to kind of interfere too much with the rudder. If it's very aggressive shift, normally it's faster to do it with a rudder than wait for him to do it alone. And we do play with the sheets in and out quite a lot, and this is kind of different to most of the classes. Just play with the main sheet, simply because it's very difficult to play with the jib sheet in and out with the jib. And for us, they are connected by the rule. They need to work together. Yep. So we ease the main and the jib together, and then the boat is very good in speeding up.
Yep.
So that's there.
The thing I've noticed, I've gone down and watched a couple of races at a local club near me, and I've noticed when a big gust hits, like if you're going downwind, they can go nose down quite a bit, and the rudder pops out. Is that like a fault in the design, or is that something was it to do with sailing technique?
No, it's just you are just overpowered. You have to realize when you kind of calculate our surface of the sails comparing to the weight ratio and stability, we have crazy numbers. I mean, we are 1 meter long. We sail like 2 miles upwind.
Yeah.
I mean, we are not as fast comparing now as a new foiling America Cup, but all these other designs, we are much faster than them. Because if you go 10 meters, we should go 20 miles upwind, which is no one is driving that except now foiling boats. Yep. But and then if you go with kind of really bulky and put lots of volume in front, it slows you down in most of the other conditions. So you kind of you want to balance it, and then you simply go nose down. So but then we change to smaller rigs because it's time for the smaller rigs anyway. Yep. Even upwind, you will be faster with smaller rings. So this is, I would say, mostly a mistake by the driver not choosing the proper.
So that was my problem then.
Yeah,
that was my problem. I would sort of nosedive it and go backwards. come out backwards.
So
yeah.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to just say, I've got a bit of a problem in that I can't keep my mouth shut. I like to go up and talk to people and help. And so I remember I went out to watch some of the racing, and within 5 minutes I was trying to help coach a guy that was at the back. And I pulled his boat out and I reset the boat up. Just not that I've ever sailed one before, but I just used I've done a lot of coaching, and so I just set it up how I wanted. And then I just talked to him, let's get that feel in the rudder so the boat just sort of sails itself. And then I said the strategy I would employ, having never sailed these boats, is that I'd be chasing to be very consistent in my speed. I would be looking for consistent speed. So I'd be very aware. I don't want the boat moving around a lot. I just want the boat to track smoothly. I'm chasing smoothness and consistency. And I'm wondering, as the world champion 3 times, the man that designs the boats, what things do you think of when you're actually racing the boat?
Well, you are right. You need to when I tune it, I try to tune it to cover most of the conditions that are expected. Maybe not to be the fastest in any of those, but I like to cover my basic, so to speak. So this is kind of very difficult way to tune the boat, because sometimes on the race course you have from 2 to, let's say, 8 knots. and it's, as you guys probably know, it's completely different setup. But you are not on a boat, you cannot retune the boat. So you kind of try to figure out what will hurt me the most in a strong wind, and won't hurt me that much if I, for example, make the top of the sail flat.
Yep.
So okay, it won't maybe hurt me too much in lighter winds. It will hurt me, but maybe not too much, but it will definitely kill me in a strong wind. So you kind of go for that. If it will rain, steady wind, then maybe you will say, okay, I will make a full top of the sail. It will never go over 5 knots. I don't care about, I don't need to depower at any time.
Yep.
So you are kind of balancing all this to cover the most of the kind of race course conditions. And also when you are racing, I also try to be very consistent. I try to avoid hitting the corners and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at my scores from the last Europeans that I won, once I joined the golf fleet, I wasn't leading at that time. I was, I don't know, third, fourth. I was close, but not leading. And I never won the race in golf fleet. Like 10 races, I have 0 wins. But my worst score was 8th place, I think 8 or 9, something like that.
Zvonko,
So I was hold the races from 2nd to 8th.
very
Yes.
important point you just made. What you're actually doing is you're actually tickling Jordan's fancy a lot here, because as a coach over the many years, and with nearly 300 episodes of bar karate into our career here, one of Jordan's biggest passions is results, and he will tell you that if you get a 2nd, 4th, 5th, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 3rd, and no race wins, he's happy. He's very happy. So you're right after Jay.
Yeah, nice.
But it is. I think it's since I also like mathematics, so I think it's very connected with the number of races you do. If you do one race, then you bang the corners, no question about it.
Yeah,
you trim.
correct.
You trim for it. You bang the corner and you hope for the best.
Yep.
But if you do like we do 20 races, then there is no point. Then you need to kind of
Play the fleet.
Be in the middle, play the field.
Yeah, you
And just
don't,
be in this.
you don't want a
Yes.
bad result in your scorecard. You want lots of low numbers, and sometimes going for first is too
Yeah.
much risk, is what I would argue. So what you're trying to do is not get any bad numbers. So yes, but Brett's exactly right. You make me very happy, this discussion.
Yeah, if you look at there are all the videos of the races and everything. I mean, some races I did on the first bit bang the corners, but later on I would kind of sail the middle. There is a race that I went for the pin. It was left shift. I was leading the fleet on the first bit. I don't know, 5-6 boat lengths. I was alone first, and still didn't win the race. I still finished 2nd because later on I was kind of sailing the middle, and I knew someone will pass me. If you have one guy going corner left, one other corner right, they will pass you. I don't know which one will pass me. If I knew, he wouldn't pass me. But since I didn't know, I was kind of playing the middle, and I was expecting that I will finish 2nd or 3rd, even after leading huge amount at the first beat.
Yep, perfect. I love it. I will just tell you, my friend, that the guy that I reset his boat and had the discussion with, he won the next race and he got 2nd the race after, and then he won the regatta during the middle of the week. So he was very happy.
Join us then and start sailing, radio sailing.
Well, no. What it means is Jay's now got a new business, and he's actually a coach of radio.
No, I'm not. No.
He's making a fortune. He hasn't told you yet.
No.
As you are coming to Australia in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I think it will be very fun championship. This is actually my 2nd time in Australia. It was my first World Championship in Australia in Malulaba, I think 2006 or something like that. So that was
Come on,
fun.
Jay, tell him.
Will you guys be commentating?
Yeah.
Who will be?
I'm there. Yeah. So just to add to your detail, I'm sitting in Malulaba right now. When this is where I live. And yes, I will be up at Gladstone for the regatta and be doing the commentary for the whole week. So for the listeners, if you go to International One Metre Worlds or IOM Worlds, they're going to be in Gladstone in Queensland from October 20 to 28. And there will be live streaming of all the racing.
Love it.
and commentary. So if you want to follow it, do you know anything about the race course? Have you worked out what Gladstone offers and what the conditions will be like, Zvonko?
There is only 2 videos for what I found on the official website so far. But what I think it will be kind of light to mid and top air rig. We might go to B just a little bit. And small chop similar to last Europeans. So since I won there, I think I have a good enough boat.
You pretty much nailed it, mate. Like it doesn't get super heavy wind up there unless there's a cyclone, like a proper storm coming. Traditional wind, the trade wind, it's a trade wind there. So the traditional wind is sort of that light to moderate. And you're in a basin, quite a large basin, so the chop will never get big in there. You're not going to get there's no room to build up a lot of sea state. Yeah. It's in a large basin in a beautiful park. And it's a very small town, it's an important town for industrial stuff. There's a lot of things in Gladstone and a lot of ship movements. There's an awful lot of boats moving around in the harbour. But as I said, you're in a basin offset. But, everyone will be down to watch it. It'll be the main thing in town. Everyone will be...
That's cool.
Yeah, and do you like eating steak at all, red meat?
Yes, I like.
Okay.
When we were in Mululaba, we were racing at some lake, but we have a hotel next to the sea. Yep. And since we came a few days before to kind of adjust and everything, we realized there is a happy hour for T-bone steak around noon or something like that. So we were eating T-bone steak like every day.
Okay, well, so Gladstone's right next to Rockhampton, which is the capital, the absolute headquarters of producing steaks. So you're only half an hour from where they make all the best steaks. So you'll enjoy that, and it's warm. It's always warm. It's never cold. You're going to have an absolute ball. Who's going to win?
I don't know. I think there are a couple of guys that are kind of fighting for a win.
Yep.
Obviously, I'm not coming as a defender since I lost it in Croatia, the World Championship. Yep. So there is French guys. They are very good at the last few Worlds and Europeans. Obviously, they are Croatians, and I don't know about the English guys. They are usually very good, but I don't think the top guys are now coming. Maybe someone will surprise, because from the good nations you never know. And obviously you have from New Zealand, and normally the home guys, they know the conditions and everything, and I'm quite sure they're preparing. So I think, and you have America now, it's also building up, getting stronger. So I don't want to get anyone out of but
you've covered everyone. Well done.
Guys are coming, so it will be a nice championship, I would say.
I hope so. I think, for the people that are putting it on and the community that is putting it on, as I said, it will be the centre of attention. There'll be a lot of people coming down to watch. It's a lovely part of the world to come to watch. So you will get a lot of media coverage and attention on the events. And they're putting on quite a celebration. So I think, it is a fantastic place to go. It's a long way from the main airport. So once you've landed from your international flight, I'm not sure how you're going to get to Gladstone, whether you're driving up or you're going to fly up. But
I think to rent a car, we realize it's tend to be quite cheap. So maybe to rent a car and then.
Yep. Have you got a team from Croatia coming over? Have you got a bunch of people?
Yeah, there are 7 of us. We are coming in two groups.
Wow.
Well, first group where I am, we are first going to Sydney for a couple of days, kind of see the Sydney, and then we will fly.
I'm in Sydney, so.
That's good. Maybe you can tell us where to go. Send us like links or something.
Yep.
Because we will be there a couple of days, and then Then we fly to Brisbane, and then is it Brisbane?
Yep.
and then we drive to Gladstone.
It's probably a good 6 hours drive, just so you know, and you'll see plenty of wildlife, and it's a fair drive. So get a comfortable car.
We are thinking maybe to split it in 2 days. The drive.
Oh.
Does it make sense to stop somewhere and kind of have fun, watch the wildlife? I personally also like, if there are nice beaches, to stop there for a few hours, or nice wildlife, or whatever.
It's a huge thing, Zvonko. What happens when people come to Australia? They go, well, how long are you going to Australia for? 3-4 weeks. So what are you doing? We're going to go to Melbourne, then we're going to Sydney, then we're going to go to Brisbane, then we're going to go to Whitsundays. Now, realistically speaking, it's kind of like going from Spain to Russia in 4 days. So the longer you can take, if you do have a car, the longer you can take, the better. If you can, even 2 or 3 days from Brisbane to Gladstone, it's a couple hundred kilometres a day, and it's a really nice ride up there.
Very easy. I was just going to say it's an easy drive for Aussies. So Brisbane to Gladstone would be like driving from Paris to Amsterdam. It's not that far. It's something
for us, it's fine. In Croatia, everything is close. Yeah. You have to realize when I need to drive more than 10-15 minutes, for me it's a long drive.
Yeah, I understand.
After 30 minutes, I prepare the sandwich,
Yeah. Maybe if you're going to stop, maybe Harvey Bay or 1770. Oh no, you're almost to Gladstone, 1770. Maybe Harvey Bay or Bundaberg would be the places that you'd stop off. If you're going to do a bit of stop. It's quite pretty around there, very pretty. But we can tell you all this off air, mate. It's all good. You'll have a good time.
Please do. I'm very happy.
So one of the things I did notice with my research is that, obviously you've been designing these boats and rigs and the whole thing, and you're obviously very passionate about it. One person we know reasonably well, I haven't seen him for a few years, but we know reasonably well, is a guy called Ken Reid. And I noticed, I think you reached out to Ken and gave him a bit of, sent him some gear. And I noticed at the North American Championships, he won the Continental Champ. You won it, but he was third, I think. So, Kenny Reid's going okay.
Yeah, Ken Reid just joined the class. So I think he will be very competitive very, very soon. This is his, I think, just the beginning.
Well, and it's only one way with Ken, Zvonko. Only one way.
I start to realize that, so I will be in a problem probably very soon. Which is good. I like the challenge, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But he was helping with our design with K2.
Yep.
And now I think he will get also the VIS, and so we will see.
Yeah, good.
And there is also, I don't know, did you notice in those results there was also Bruce Farr there, so he's also quite
very good.
So, and this is what I've been talking. For example, in those two, you can see Bruce Farr is more designer, not so much compared to sailor. I mean, he's a good sailor, there is no question about it, but he's more in design. So he's interested in this class, I think, more about design and setting up the sails and whatever. And I think Ken Reid is just there for racing. I mean, he also obviously know how to set up the sails and everything. He's top sailor.
Yep.
No question about it. But I think for him, it working more the competitive point of racing and stuff like that. And for the Bruce, is probably more the design stuff.
Love it.
So this is what I'm saying, and actually you have the good point there in those two people, and they are best in what they do in the world. I mean, cannot go much further than that. So
I'm just waiting for Brett, because Brett has a partner, works with Far Yacht Design, so as with his boat that
my yachts are Far. So what I was going to say was. Is it safe to let these people into the class, because you could end up with a Far 1 metre boat with Ken Reid sails?
I don't know. The classes comparing to the other classes. I mean, not the radio sailing class. Comparing to the, let's say, big boat classes. I don't think anyone with money can kind of just run you over. Because
I don't know. I think it was more.
if they develop something that's super fast, you can easily see where they are gaining the speed, and kind of next year you can have not same, but similar, or your version of it, and then it's. But obviously, if they join up and start doing it on a high level, which I'm not sure they will do it, I think this is more kind of hobby and fun for them.
Yep.
These guys have been around a long time, and they respect everyone in the industry across the board. And if you're supplying boats, and they know you're the expert, so they that's what they do. They respect it.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a couple of questions for people that are listening that probably thinking, oh, maybe I'll give one of these a go? Just two questions. One is, how different are the rules? So the rules, I know there's an addendum in the yacht racing rules. I'm trying to remember I can't remember which one it is off the top of my head, but there is a yacht racing rule addendum. How different are the rules?
Yes, there is an amendment, but the rules are basically all the same. The main difference is we have 4 boat lengths at the zone. And we have this before that now everyone move, I think, to 3 boat lengths or something like that. But we always had 4 because we are small and fast, so it's. And the other stuff is just about radio, when can you kind of touch the boat, cannot touch the boat. But basically what it says that during the racing you can take your boat out, retune it if you like it, or take the grass out or whatever, and throw it back into the water, but you cannot push it. You can push it to the speed that he will continue to sail.
Understand.
But you cannot push it to, let's say, 3 knots if he will continue sailing 2 knots. But you can push it to 2 knots. You
can't tow it up onto its foils then.
It's something like that. And you need to do it alone, otherwise it's kind of outside help.
Okay.
But I think general in all the boats. So.
Okay. If you were going to want to buy one...
this is a good question, Jay. I wanted to ask this question myself.
Yeah, about the costs? Is that what you're going to ask me?
Where, how much, and how do you do it?
Yeah.
Well, for if you want our boats, you just go to the web page and order it. It is all made on a website shop. So basically, you can just click it and you buy it. You will need to wait for, I would say, 5 to 6 months to come in a line for us to produce it.
It's almost the same as us.
Well, for the top boats, you always need to kind of wait in a line. I mean, we are I would say, the biggest producers, and I think we are making most of them. But there is still demand for it, so you need to wait in line. And the other this is the easiest method. You just click and buy. I mean, if you have the money, this is definitely the easiest method. The other option is you kind of find the used boat at your local club. But it all depends what are your kind of abilities and what do you want. If you want to play with the boat and kind of build stuff, fix it, tune it, then you can get a good, decent design that's been used for a couple of years. There is nothing wrong with it. It's still very competitive. These boats tend to last 5 to 6 years easily and still be very, very good conditions. Maybe you need to change the sails or stuff like that, which is normal.
Yep.
And then you can kind of start with that, and that's about it. But
you mentioned the website.
It's very good to get the good design from the beginning.
Yep.
We have people buying all designs that are not that much competitive. Then they lose the interest because they have either problem with the boat or they're not as fast, and
which comes back to my point earlier that people like Bruce Farr and Ken Reid come in and respect the designs and the amount of work that's gone into your designs. You mentioned the website. What is the website, just out of interest? It's
sailboatrc.com. Sailboat RC, it's radio control kind of shortened.
So sailboatrc.com.
.com, yeah. And then we ship it directly to you. You order it. It's standard. You just order whatever you want. There are premium package. This is all involved in that, so it's much easier to order. You get everything. This is basically designed for the newcomers. They don't have nothing, so they don't need to understand. Oh, I need also the rig box, which is something you don't have at the big boats, or I need a boat stand or stuff like that. I need radio cover. You are not thinking about this stuff. With the premium package, you basically get everything you need. You get everything that I will most likely bring to the World Championship. So that's kind of idea behind it.
You two listeners can look like the world champion.
I love it, BP. I'll tell you what, it's lucky that Bice is not on this interview because he'd have already ordered one while we're sitting here.
He would. And he'd put it in his shed with the other stuff he doesn't use.
He'd never use it. That's exactly right. One of the things that we haven't discussed is that unlike every other sailing class in the world, if you want to go to World Championships, it's super easy to get your boat there, no containers.
Yeah, don't need a shipping company, don't need to deal with logistic managers, and don't need to deal with freight.
No, this is one of the reasons I joined IOM, and this is, I think, why the IOM is popular, because the class, when it was designed to be as big as possible for easy traveling. There are other classes that are bigger, but they are still problem to travel. This is kind of the biggest you can go for easy parking and traveling. And it's super nice. I mean, you put everything with you in a plane, or even when we go to local regattas inside Europe, I ship everything. Like 7 days before, you send it with a local carrier, and you just go there, by cheap flights or whatever with a backpack. You come there, everything is at the hotel. It's awesome.
and your shore crews organised it all for you, and it's all done.
You don't need to do because everything is super light and super easy. And what I started liking, also why I like the car. I mean, if you do damage the jib or you don't like design of the jib or whatever, you just buy a new one. It's like 50 euros, 100 euros. It's affordable.
So affordable.
On a big boat. On a big boat, even if you are selling smaller classes, you don't like design of the jib, you tend to sail 1 year with it more until you kind of change it.
You don't need to explain that, my friend. We know that all too well.
I love it.
Here you change it, you just buy the new one, so and you go.
This is fantastic. I'll tell you what, this is amazing. We're kind of come to the end of our time, my friend. I do have to say, we sort of have always wanted to do a bit of a discussion around remote control sailing, radio control sailing, and I'm really glad we did because you've opened a lot of thoughts in our heads. The fact that it correlates with the World Champs coming to near where I am, and I'll actually be there the whole week trying to sound like an expert on these boats.
So like normal then?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. It's been really interesting. I'm looking forward to meeting you up in Gladstone. I should be. I'm easy to spot. I'm quite a tall bloke, but only because I've got a gigantic head. When you meet me in the real life, you'll go, okay, that's him.
Cue in, Bicey. My last question before we do leave, in sailing and in professional sailing, we have quite a hectic fitness regime. We put together some gym programs. If you're a grinder, you generally go into the gym and do various exercises. If you're helmsman, you try and do balance things. What's your fitness program? Is it a thumb twiddling program?
For us, it's not so much the fingers. I mean, you don't need to finger. But I think for us, it's a very mind exhausting because, for example, when you compare to the other classes, you do 2-3 races top per day. Our average is 4 to 5, and the difference is everything happens super fast.
Yeah. Yep.
Now we have, to be honest, guys in Croatia that's actually our world champion in like foiling boards and stuff like that. They realize we are at their speed of thinking.
Okay.
Because they also last like 15 minutes and they have like a start, upwind, downwind, and finish. So we are in their kind of speed of thinking. So this is the major difference, and it does drain you out because you have to have really fast decisions. Especially you are driving something that you don't kind of see. It's a bit far away, so you kind of concentrate on that.
Yeah.
And then you have the boats coming. You are not sure are you passing or hitting or. So it's I would say more mind game.
Yeah.
Yep.
For the race.
There's some really good points there. I think it's a good question, BP. That vision of crossing and where you are versus the marks, obviously that's a real technique that you have to develop. But the one thing I did notice is that it's so much easier to see the shifts when you're standing up on the little hill looking on the water. So you can actually plan your course really, really a long way in advance because you see it all coming down the water. It's much easier.
Yeah. That is much easier to see the shift and kind of predict and make a game plan out of it.
I guess I know we are coming to an end, but I guess the most important thing here is to say that this, this discipline is a discipline that we all should respect a lot more because it's hard. It would not be easy, and it's sailed at an extremely high level.
Yes, I agree. I mean, you can see this by top guys coming and still kind of not wiping the floor with us. I mean, you have guys that won Olympic medals still coming and still finishing, I don't know, 5th, 6th at the Worlds or 7th, not even getting the medal. So, and they know not everything, but they know the most how to use the shifts, where to talk, how to start. I mean, I think our advantage, I mean, not advantage, but when you calculate the number of races we as a radio sailor did, I think we are not far off from them. We didn't spend that much time definitely on the water because we do work and then we play with this during weekend or maybe after the work and stuff like that, and not that much. But when you just calculate the number of the races, I don't think we are that far, because for us normal practice is doing 10, maybe 15 races in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And for them to get 15 races, they spend 7 days.
Yeah. Love it.
Simple as that. Yeah.
Zvonko, good luck and enjoy Australia when you get here. Make sure you do. And if you have any questions, I'm sure Jay will, I don't know where I'll be, but I'm sure Jay will be able to help you. So looking forward to you getting down here and enjoying the hospitality of Australia.
Yeah, I think it will be really nice championship. Last time I enjoyed it. I don't expect to be any different this time here.
Yeah, cool. All right, mate. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you in a month.
Yes, see you. Bye.
Cheers, man.
Interesting discussion. Really open and honest, which was great. I'm looking forward to having a beer with the guy. He sounds like a lot of fun, having a beer with the guy.
Got an interesting take on the situation.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
You know how in Australia we call David Davo?
Yeah.
And Jono.
Jono, yeah.
We don't have to do anything for Zvonko. He's already got the name. He's already got the nickname. Where are you going? Oh, I'm going over to Zonko's house.
You can't shorten his name. He's got the perfect Aussie name, hasn't he? It's great. That's a good point.
The perfect Aussie name. And good on you, mate. And great chat. I mean, bar karate thrives on this sort of stuff. Like sailing is such a broad thing. And last week we had the E-Series on, left field. Yeah, give it left field. This week we've got the International 1 Metres. These guys deserve the airplay.
These boats are so technical.
They deserve the airplay. It's as technical as a 2 metre, as a 3 metre, as a 5 metre, as a 10 metre. Come on.
It's good fun. I'm looking forward to the Worlds. Absolutely looking forward to the Worlds.
Food-wise.
Oh, food-wise. Yeah. It was interesting because we had that whole discussion about steak, obviously. But if you are going to go in for a World Champs, you want to be at peak of the game, and you want sort of fast, healthy, complete nutrition, and that's offered by our friends at Radix Nutrition. You get to save time and effort with nutritionally balanced breakfast meals made from high-quality natural ingredients, whole food ingredients, nutrient dense. You've got meals, breakfast, protein powders, accessories, the whole thing. So it's very, very cool and very affordable. One of those
things, when you're hot to trot and you're on the go, especially with the 1 Metre Worlds.
Yeah.
Races.
Make a difference. But yeah, so if you are heading over for the Worlds, we're just sailing. Of course, we've got the Hobart coming up. We'll probably do a big program, build up ahead of the Hobart. But yeah, if you want to jump onto the Radix Nutrition website, use the discount code.
I do want to sort of elaborate on that a bit. Sorry to butt in on that for a second. I do want to elaborate on this a bit. We are going to do something very special for the Sydney to Hobart yacht race.
Right.
So for those listeners who are going to be doing the Sydney to Hobart yacht race, stand by because it's coming your way.
Yep. Those just, jump on board. But if you are looking to stock up for any other reason, just Bar Karate is the code discount and get a discount on us and go
Absolutely.
from there. Yeah.
Well done.
Very cool. Cool. So moving on, it's just events that are coming up. La Voile de Saint-Tropez, which is,
what a fantastic event that is.
Yeah.
I've done a handful of those.
Yeah.
I got to admit though, the main event when I did the La Voile was the bocce.
Yep.
The bocce at the chalet at the end of each day. At the end of each day, we would actually be more focused on the bocce than the sailing.
Yeah. I love it. Well, that's on 28th September to October 6th, so it's got all the different classes, the Wallies, traditional yachts, modern yachts, maxis, everything. So it's a busy time.
Fantastic week. If for anyone who hasn't done that event and would like to do something really cool, put that in your bucket list. It's and I mean Saint-Tropez, cool place.
Then you just have to move your boat down to Malta because 21 to 28 of October, the Rolex Middle Sea Race, obviously one we have a lot of passion for. We're interested in it in a big way. So that is coming up as well. So just wanted to highlight that for our listeners. Yep. You got any words you want to add to that?
Yep.
Go
I mean, the Middle Sea Race for us is a very big attraction. It's not necessarily this year, but next year it's looking very, very exciting for a big short-handed fleet. So we're working on it.
Read between the lines, listeners.
Along with the RGN 600.
Oh, well, good. That's what we want. Cool. All right, let's move on to Jack Lloyd Listener of the Week. Now, it's a special month because, as we know, our friends at Vycobi provide some vouchers for the listeners of the month. And this month, they challenged the listeners and asked the question. The team at Vycobi came to us with this, asked the question, if you won the cup, you were a cup challenger and you won the cup and you took it back to your nation, what would the cup look like? Okay, so what boats, what were the crew, how would you change the cup? We've been inundated with emails and I've sort of had to filter out quite a few, but emails, messages. But if you want to send it, we've got another couple of weeks before we'll give away the big prize. So we're totally focused on the cup for this month. So if you reach out to us at cheers@barkarate.com and send us your ideas. I've got quite a few here, BP.
I've been following and reading them.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go through in detail every single point. That there is a fairly common theme popping up here.
Okay. Do you want to highlight it, or shall I just show a few?
Well, I think I'd like to follow your lead because ultimately here, there's a lot of people who've got a lot to say about this because, the America's Cup is always the cutting edge, whether it be performance, whether it be technology, whether it be in the courts, whether it be just general, what's the word? Skullduggery is the word I'm going to look for here.
Yeah.
So far it's happened.
Okay.
But before you go on, there is something I would like to say because ultimately today is Sunday. We're recording on Sunday evening. We've had a couple of days of the youth AC40s.
Yep.
Now, how much fun has that been watching that?
And frustration. I just want to clip some of them around the head a couple of times. Just smooth out your turns, you mongrels. Anyway, it's been unreal. Yeah,
you got to remember the last two nights has been the invitees who've only sailed in simulators.
Yeah. Well, we'll bring it up. We'll have some serious discussion in a sec.
Let's go back to our listener of the week.
Yeah, then we can really rip into it. This first one, it's Lawson Shaw. For me, it's the standout email at this stage. So I will give this one in full. A few boys, a few weeks ago after the Plim Regatta, I would have said, let's have a 50, 60-foot TP Maxi 72 style monohulls and go back to real match racing regatta. But the purpose of the Cup is beyond the match racing elements, is to push the boundaries and develop the technology. So I reckon you've pretty much hit the nail on the head going down the route of the smaller version of the 75, somewhere in the 50-foot range, I reckon. Cool boats, more of them, cool racetrack. So cool boats and more of them need a cool racetrack. So obviously we need the Barcarati Pursuit course with the BK barge anchored in the middle.
The BK barge.
Bicey on brisket duties, of course. And I think the comms off the boats have been awesome for the TV viewing. So let's add another element, a banter button. So you can send audio to the other boats during the race. What could possibly go wrong? Hey?
Well, love this. And I reckon the AC40s are open to this right now because they're full open banter at the moment. So let's bring that in. That.
Yeah, but
like
the banter button, I do like that. I reckon that could be a winner. Phil Shearer come in with one where there's just straight sucking up our bums. First concept boat designed by Brett, masked by Southern Spars, spokesman for the teams, the big talking head. That'd be me. Clothing by Vocobi. Teams can only eat radix. Second's a bit more extreme. He wants close racing by sailors, not computers. And that's a consistent theme. There's a lot of people have said this.
No, I think that'll come out in a conversation in a minute. Keep going.
Yeah. Remove most of the restrictions to allow design and development to find solutions. Remove nationality requirements to encourage participation. And he wants to do what's a square, not a bloody parallelogram. One need start on a reach, 1 nautical mile reach, downwind 3 nautical miles, reach of 1 nautical mile, up 3 mile. Then you have a boundary on the outside, spectator viewing area on the inside, the inner boundary. 2 laps of the course, no time limit, no lower limit. Race officers can start if they believe a fair race can be sailed. There's no upper wind limit. So that really puts a lot more flexibility required in the design. Yeah. So that was quite interesting. Scotty Patton came through. Let's have the race in Sydney Harbour because
I love what he opened up with. I love Pat's question. It's a corker.
What? Go on.
I just said he opens up with I love Pat's question. It's a corker.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Thanks, mate. So he wants it in Sydney Harbour. He's a Victorian and he said that because you get better viewing, you got to showcase more skills. He wants to have an education centre with it. The America's Cup should be an expo of sailing, a history around half a century older than the Olympics. So it should be something there to create opportunities for kids in Spike and bring the general public to the sport, which is quite interesting. He said get rid of the cyclaws. I'm 100% behind that, and I will come back to that.
Well, again, it comes down to what we're talking about. What we've got. So these are the top sort of points that have come through, and every single person that is commenting is saying the same thing.
Yep. Moving back to 12 metres in length. So that's right, the 12 metres back. Well, the 12 metres were much longer than 12 metres. I think he knows that, though. He's pretty switched on. Boats are too quick to have grinders, so electric winches and foil controls, but all the control surfaces must be manipulated by the crew on board. No flight or sail preset smarts, all crew work. Canting rigs can be explored. Complete box design with a lot of freedom in terms of fabric, hulls, all that. Cost does come into play. Wants to tighten up the starting line to encourage more manoeuvres. Hollywood mark does make for some great action. The get behind 75 metres is too far. It needs to be just get behind. Course boundaries just limited by the harbour. That's interesting. So you've physically no spectator boats. Everyone's on the shore. I like it. He reckons that we should bring back two boat testing between the teams because that is more beneficial. So you don't get one team just doing a lot of development. So the lack of 2 boat testing has definitely benefited the Kiwis at the moment because they've got a lot more lead up. So, yeah. There's a heap more.
I mean, we could go on forever.
We could. I do want to mention we got Malt Wildmeyer from Sweden come in. A couple of thoughts on the Cup. If one wants to convert a sporting competition into an event that is popular with a large audience, it needs to be a great entertainment
product.
Yeah.
And that's a really important point. Let's hold that little thought. Entertainment product.
Yeah, so he reckons that the top end speed's not really anything special.
Correct.
The ability of the audience to participate in the emotion of the competitors. Sailing's always been quite bad at this, since pure will and passion doesn't drive a boat faster, and the drivers and tacticians need to be calm and collected. Now they have helmets, even masks, and sit in a tub. That's lovely. So he's saying that's weak. The unpredictability of the results. If the leading boat constantly sails away because the following is slow, the race is decided at the start, and it makes it uninteresting. Constant interactions of the boats, 5-minute starts, covering tacks, overlaps, mark roundings. That makes a race amazing. These boats are so fast and accelerate so quickly. A bit of pressure. The F-ups are almost never directly interacting. Sorry, I jumped line, so I'm getting double vision in my old age. These boats are so fast and accelerate so quickly in a bit of pressure, they are almost never directly interacting. It would be cool to sail supercharged TP52s without kite takedown lines, increase F-ups and 45 to 60-minute races.
Increase the fuck-up potential.
Yeah.
I like that comment. Increase the fuck-up potential.
Yep. Yeah, so there's some good ones there. So there's another couple of weeks of that. I think we're all in agreement. Smaller boats, the banter, the stuff, the chat, make the crews more open and engaged. I think that's all coming down to it. The aerodynamic element is taking that away. Yeah. What else did you pick up? Anything?
Well, I think I asked the question a few weeks ago. Are the boats too perfect?
Yeah.
The 75s.
Well, okay. The 40s
hang on. We discussed this, and this was a topic that I think you and I need to go on a bit of a tangent here. Are we going to decide a sort of a winner of this week, listener, before we go on our little tangent? Because ultimately, everyone is saying the same thing.
No, I think that first email I read out was the winner.
Lawson Shaw.
Yeah.
Is that because he wants to have? Is that because he wants us to have a BK barge in the?
Well, course. No, I think he's hit some really cool, simple things. So, about having smaller versions of the 75s, I think that's right. The course with the BK barge, 100%. But the banter button really, really ticks our, we love that. So I think, bringing the sailors more out is one way of doing that, is actually having that bit of banter button. That could actually really work, because I'd love to hear them psyching each other out. Like the commentary with Ashby it's good. Can you imagine Ashby in the race? Like, he would be in everyone's head. He would so be in people's heads. He would love it. He must have been so hard to race against when he was doing all the other classes.
Well, but slingers and Ainsley, they're all the same.
Yeah.
Just they're not allowed to.
Yeah. I do have to, while we're talking about it, I'll pull up the ultimate commentary I heard, the ultimate commentary statement that I heard, and it was last night.
I heard this one.
Did you? So best commentary ever. Ashby said, Stephen, I am going to punch you in the head if you give the commentator's curse to the Aussies. And then the Aussies go straight into a massive crash after the curse. Did you hear that? Is that the one you thought of?
That's exactly the one I was talking about. Exactly it. It's clear that Boise needs to do some work here.
What, get him on the show?
Well, get him on the show. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Glenn knows about the reverse curse.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Yeah.
Anyway, look, okay, so we're going Lawson Shaw for the for the listeners.
Currently leading is what we're going to say.
Currently leading. So what we're saying is we're going to extend this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, we've still got another couple of weeks to go, mate.
Well, the cup conversation is huge, because even though we don't have direct pull, we don't, we're not involved in any way, shape, or form in terms of, putting ideas across. I think we've got the general public having a chat.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, here's an interesting one.
Go on.
It's hot time with Bike.
It's hot time with BP.
Oh, is it? Hang on, I've just made you really small on my screen. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Hot time with BP.
Yeah, no. You got anything you want to? There's a lot of worlds. We might just quickly speed through the worlds because I do want to just talk about the Cup predominantly. But there's quite a few events that have happened in the last week or two that since we've recorded. You want?
Well, I think, like I said again, I'll follow you because I've had a very busy week and I'm about to fly to San Francisco, so I've got a bit on. So let's go through it.
Star Worlds, congratulations, John Kostecki, Austin Sperry.
Absolutely huge shout out and yep.
I think then followed by Will Stout and Daniel Cayard, and then Leonardo Altiguer and Lucas Altiguer, the Argentinian team in third. Then Paul Cayard was into fourth with...
Still up there, aren't
they? Yeah, amazing. Anyway, there's the same names in that fleet, but been going on forever. But yeah, congratulations to John and Austin.
It's kind of like the grown-up... I mean, the Finn class is a grown-up class.
Yeah, yep.
But the Star class is like the grown-up class.
Yeah. I've never saw one actually. I'm the right size for a Finn, but never.
Yeah, don't know. You'd like the whole
Finn for a Star. Never saw one. If J70 Worlds, the
it's always the J70 Worlds. Every week's the J70 Worlds.
Yep. Yeah. This time it's Yonder having the win. The Doug Newhouse boat with Jeremy Wilmot on board, taking that win. Mindset, the Brazilian team in second, and then a GBR team, the Brutus team, Brutus 2, have been going great guns into third. So congratulations to all the competitors in that one. A-class Worlds. Gee, there's some stuff going on in the A-classes. Have you been across this, BP? Have you seen what they've been up to?
I've been sort of keeping a little eye on it, but it's just non-stop development, isn't it?
The DN rigs, the ice boat rigs they're starting to experiment with?
They're getting these bendy rigs that are just... Yeah, and I agree with it, 100%.
Oh, sure. I've got no problem.
We discussed this a long time ago about morphing. Being able to morph, if you're able to control something in a morphing situation where it does it on its own, you don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah. All right. Congratulations, Mickey Todd, in the win. Mickey Todd for the win. Benny Hall in for second in the Silver Bullet. And then Ken Marshak, Red Gear Racing from USA in Shark Attack.
Some new names there.
Yeah, Shack Attack. Some
new names.
Yeah. So A-class is gone. I'm not going to touch the Maxis. That's Bicey's world. He should have been here to talk about it. So we'll just skip past that one. But the Defy Azimuth, the 48-hour race, Charlie Dallin, he's just dominant. But you know who is getting there right now? Sam Goodchild in second, and then Jeremy Bayou, still the same guys at the front of that fleet. You've got to build the right boat, and you've got to be able to sail fast. But Charlie Dallin, he is just on fire for the last few years.
Yeah, I'm loving Sam Goodchild though.
Yeah, of course.
No, Charlie Dallin, legend. Yep, 100%, love it. But what I love is, and I don't want to say the word broadly, but outsiders. This whole thing is a French controlled group of people that are just so good. But having people like Sam come in and take it on, it's awesome.
Yeah, done awesome. Done very well. Before we go back to the Cup, I just want to quickly mention that our mate Paul Eldred just sent us a note about the Fremantle Sailing Club's Women's Racing and Mentorship Program, RAMP. Now, Paul is the main man at One Sails in Australasia, and they've picked up sponsorship in and around that, so they're supporting this event. So if you are in Western Australia around the Fremantle Sailing Club, they've got their whole mentoring program, so it's called RAMP. It's aimed at getting more women on the water who are new to sailing or currently active sailors and looking to improve their sailing skills. The program acquired the use of some Elders 24s and have been using the boat for both training and racing regattas around Western Australia. Ramp was the proud winner of the race Australian Sailing She Sails Award, which is recognition for outstanding contribution and promotion. So well done. And now One Sails is providing some new sails for them, the team. So it's a good thing. I would suggest if you want to, you're new to sailing or you want to get some friends into sailing in West Australian based, pick up the phone and get onto Freo Sailing Club. If you're looking to promote the sport in your world, maybe have a chat to the Freo Sailing Club and see what they're doing and how they're going about it. But yeah, so just congratulations. Thanks to One Sails for helping out. I don't mind giving Mr. Eldred a nice free plug, but trying to drive the sport, it's a good thing. Right, the cup, my young friend. There's so much. Which shall we talk about? The Louis Vuitton, or should we do the little fellas?
Oh, look, I'm going to. Yeah, we should talk about the Louis Vuitton because ultimately that's the big one.
Yep.
But what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw it out there, and I'm going to speak honestly. And I am pretty sure that I'm speaking for 80% of the sailing public out there. The youth sailing AC40s are spectacular.
It's unreal.
Yeah. From a spectacle point of view,
they're hyperactive. It's like watching 3-year-old kids run around after chocolate. Red cordial. That's what they're like.
A bunch of red cordial. But my point is, I've done the cup. I mean, I know exactly what it's all about in terms of technology and in terms of focus and in terms of, 0.1%, of performance. It's a huge thing. The AC40s at the moment have captivated me. We've seen 3 or 4 days of sailing, and I'm loving it.
That's cool. But all right, I think we just need to. Let me just throw something back at you. Let's just look at the Louis Vuitton. So we had the finals, the semi-finals, right? So we had. GBR, the British team, go up against the Swiss team. Artemis and Ineos. Going into that, everyone was debating. Remember last time we recorded, everyone was debating which way they're going to go. Bicey sent me a note, and I just said, of course Ineos are going to pick, the Swiss team. Why risk it? Yeah. Alinghi, sorry.
Let's just going one step further back from that. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny the fact that Ineos have sailed the boat very well. We know that.
Sure.
Absolutely, 100%. We're very lucky on a couple of occasions with the failure on the Italian boat to demote them to second, and then obviously the time ran out and the weather conditions meant that they weren't able to run the decider. So it went to a count back in which Ineos then effectively won that first round of racing. Italy then go up against American Magic. Okay, let's just reverse this a little bit. And let's just say, for example, Italy didn't have the issue with their keel and it was Italy first against Alinghi. Would Ineos have beaten American Magic?
Yeah, it's interesting because the thing we know about the UK boat is that it's quite vulnerable in terms of really light winds. So it's got smaller foils, and like in that light wind, it's vulnerable. But that also means it's quite good in the straight lines. But American Magic also, it seems to be good in a straight line, but not so good coming out of manoeuvres when you compare to Italy. The Italian boat seems to have that ability to come out faster and higher real quick. So it might have been more of a race of equals. I think when we look at the Italian-US final, of course the US lost Paul Goodison and had to bring in this.
Look, and we haven't touched on that. I mean, I want to touch on that for a second. I did have to have a chat with Britton Ward about this, but just sorry to cut you off. But one of the things that I look at here is I do believe, and this is all honesty, that Luna Rossa and American Magic probably were the better boats, and we're going to end up in a final together. Considering the equipment failure from Ineos against Italy, which meant that they actually effectively won the first series. Now, if it was the other way around, where Italy won and it was Ineos versus America Magic, my prediction would have been that America probably would have been too strong for Ineos.
Yeah, I'm interested. I think they're very similar in boats. I think they're quite similar. I don't know how it would have played out. Like what I was going to say with the America-Italy race, with the substitution of Goodison, there was a couple of races where there was a mistake, 2 mistakes, and those races were so close with the Italian team, such close finishes, that those 2 mistakes cost 2 races, and that scorecard could have easily been 5-3, and Italy could have easily been out if those 2 mistakes hadn't been made. Obviously, there was a whole bunch of bad luck with weather and all sorts of stuff that the Americans got back.
Look, De Frasi was his name, wasn't it? What was the new skipper's name? Sorry. Anyway, he came in and under pressure.
Oh yeah, no criticism at all. No
under
criticism.
pressure. Yeah. And there's no question how well he did to get himself up to speed. And look, they got themselves into a position where they were 4-2.
Yep.
Now 4-2, and then equipment failure.
Yep.
All right. Now no one's going to sort of say equipment failure is a planned thing, but it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, it happens, and you take your opportunities when they show up, and that's what they did. Now I'm going to say, and I'm going to say this absolutely from a spectator point of view. It's not saying anything to anyone on board. And we said it a couple of weeks ago. You cannot Liebau these boats. You cannot dump with these boats. It's all about free air and sailing fast. You cannot put yourself in a vulnerable position. The race, or the match, if you like, was won and lost on the first upwind leg of that particular final race, where they tacked on Luna Rossa.
Yeah. That was a mistake. So that's one of my notes I made coming in, that would the US have been better just
It was clear
sailing their race. There was that. Remember, there was that race where they all came off they both came off the fours, and I wrote a note to myself: could you have won that race in a 4-knot shitbox? But anyway, we've ended up with a situation now. We're going into the Louis Vuitton finals. So we get UK versus Italy. If it's windy, and I think exactly what you're saying. I think if the UK boat just sails its race and goes for it, gets clear lanes, it's got a real chance. Obviously, there's some pretty smart sailors on both boats. But the Italian boat's got more all-round range, I think, at the moment. Like if you do the close-up racing, you get in and get into each other, the Italians are going to come out in front out of each manoeuvre. It's what I reckon is going to happen. They're going to gain on each manoeuvre.
They've just got the ability to come out just that 2 or 3 degrees higher and 1 knot faster.
Yep, that's true. Going on to the Youth America's Cup, how good, you're 100% right, BP. It's just been so much fun. The hyperactive sailing. The interesting thing is, obviously, they've split the fleets, the A and B fleet. So the A fleet is all the teams from the existing Cup teams, and then the B fleets are the teams that aren't part of a Cup team. And the only team within that B group that's got a boat, or had access to a boat, as I understand it, was Sweden.
It doesn't show, does it?
It doesn't show, no. But we saw the Italian team dominate Group A, and we've seen Sweden dominate Group B. Obviously, we're a little biased. The Aussie team has looked pretty good in a straight line. They've been shocking going around corners. It's just been insane.
No, tacking, they're okay. Jibing, they're average.
Oh, it's insane.
And let's not focus on the Australians too much. I mean,
let's not.
They definitely are.
They're all been struggling.
But they're getting the raps of the commentators.
Yeah.
You know how well they're sailing the boat.
Yeah.
You cannot deny the Swedish in Group B, and obviously the Italians in Group A. My big question is, is this a major distraction for the America's Cup itself?
No, it's just It's just a time filler. It's good. It creates opportunity. There's lots of young names being given an opportunity. It's a pathway. It's exactly what they should be doing. 100%.
No, but I'm talking about spectacle-wise.
Oh, I see. Because the boats are more interesting. No, well, it's a good way of testing the market, isn't it? Like if they, remember the agreement with all the participants.
All I'm saying is look at the comments.
Yeah, sure. But what I'm trying to say,
before the AC40 started, look at the comments before the AC40 started. Majority of the comments, even outside of our spectrum, oh my God, this is like blah blah blah, and we're all saying, if you want to go watch 12 meters, go watch 12 meters. You can. Yeah. If you want to go watch J class, go watch J class. You can. And I'm all for the cup. I'm all for it. I'm all for the 75s. But the youth AC40s for me, they're electrifying. I love it. I'm into it.
Yeah, well, one thing we did say about the 75s, it's going to get a lot closer and a lot better as the regattas go on. And I think they needed more time racing against each other and those things because they would have come a lot closer. And I don't think the teams that put the rule together actually wanted to have too much.
That. Yeah, agree with that totally. Which means between now and the next one, and I believe there was a comment from Grant Dalton to try and speed it up to make it a 2-year interval.
Yeah.
Which I believe makes sense.
They're definitely in the 75s again next time around. That's part of the agreement.
We know that for a fact. And let's look at it this way. Let's say they go for the 2-year interval, right? Next year there'll be events.
Well, hopefully, yeah.
You know what I mean?
We'll see what happens.
Next year there'll be events. There might be one more team. There might be 2 more teams. We don't know. Anyway. But I like the idea of a 2-year interval to create that closeness because like I said, it's like you say, and we all agree that they need time on the water.
What would be good is more teams, and the smaller boats are showing that. Like we've got 12 teams. These boats do look pretty exciting.
Do we want to see fleet racing?
Oh yeah, why not? In the build-up regattas, I don't see why not. The fleet racing's a bit more exciting. It really steps into Sail GP world there. But, I do need to say, if we're talking about the Youth Cup, the 2 separate teams, groups, I think that they may have completed all the races. There's supposed to be 8 on the program, but I think they've run out of days. So I think we know who the 3 from each of the groups going through are. And so I just want to get that on the record. So Luna Rossa from Group A, American Magic from Group A, and then Athena Pathway, which is the UK youth team, are the 3 that have gone through, is my understanding. And then Sweden, Australia, and the Spanish team. Nice group. Yep. It's pretty obvious that it will be, at the moment, Italians look unbeatable. The issue, of course, is that some of the boats still are having technical issues and all the teams have suffered from that. Lots of big crash downs. The choppy seas, how choppy. They're really
how was the Australian one last night?
Oh, insane.
That was a full reverse at 33 knots. And what about our mate Jack Ferguson driving the entire race without goggles? Imagine having that crash without goggles. Imagine if he had that crash again.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
The eyeballs would be coming out his ears.
The Australian diving team was watching that. They've been using that as a training video on for how to go. So it has been quite spectacular. Of course, we've got coming up the Louis Vuitton final. We've got the women's America's Cup racing in the AC40s, and then of course we go into the final. So Italy or the UK versus New Zealand. So Italy or the UK, BP?
Italy.
Yep. I don't know. It depends on the weather. Right now in Europe, it's dead. It's like glassy out there. I had a look at. We've seen the video from this morning. It's absolutely glassy. But
okay, so who are you saying, Italy or UK?
Oh, I think on the balance of risk,
on form,
it's
technology.
Italy. But I think it'll go way closer than people think.
You reckon the Ineos boats, technology-wise, is there?
The Ineos boat's going pretty quick. I think they've worked.
I don't deny that. I absolutely agree with you 100%. And I think that they've shocked us all. I mean, we didn't think that. But again, it comes back to what I said earlier. I mean, American Magic and Ineos had some close racing, and American Magic actually beat them quite on a couple of occasions, and had equipment failure in 2 races.
But I think also the UK they've done some changes, but they're still fragile in light winds. So yeah, interesting times. It's fun. Another week. I'd say we're done. BP, anything else you want to mention, my friend?
No, other than I'll be on a jet airplane tomorrow to San Francisco and back into the other side of the world for some yachting stuff over there. But it is going to be an interesting couple of weeks coming up.
Yeah, can't wait for it. Enjoy your week, everyone. Remember, if you do want to jump in for the Vycobi competition for the Listener of the Month, what you think America's Cup should look like. We've crapped on about it a lot, as you can tell.
Yeah, we have crapped on about it.
You can certainly tell us. You can certainly tell us, but just jump on, send it to us at cheers@barkarati.com. And remember, run over to Radix Nutrition, where you can get some discount using the discount code BARKARATI. Nutrition for everybody is what Radix Nutrition offers. And we wish you a great week. Thanks for listening to us. Hopefully the other fella joins us again soon. We've been missing him.
One day. And on another point, events-wise, we want to hear from you because... we do our own research and we talk about events that we see on our own network. Please get in touch with us. You want us to promote your event? We'll talk about it.
Have a great week, everyone.
See you. Later.